This is the Rick Man channel, and in today's video Rick continues his fascinating journey into the world of herbalism.
Hey there, this is Rick. I hope everyone's having a great day. Right, I keep getting asked by lots of people about the kinds of books that I use when I'm doing herbalism. So I decided, I finally got around to getting a bit of time to make a video all about herbalism books, which ones I recommend, which ones I tend not to use. What I've got here is a selection of the most sort of popular ones that I kind of work with. What I'll do is I'll go through them in order of my personal preference. And straight away, I have to go to this one. This is called Hedgerow Medicine by Julie Bruton Seal and Matthew Seal. And this is the book that actually got me into herbalism in the first place. I thought it was absolutely fascinating. It's basically all of the plants and the herbs and everything that you find on the roadside across the British Isles, probably most of Europe and quite a bit of America, I'd imagine, as well. And it teaches you which ones have medicinal properties, which ones are really sort of good, powerful healers. So this one I would absolutely recommend, and I make reference to it all the time. Again, most of these books I think they're all available sort of from Amazon and places like that. So this is my number one choice. Now, when I've got a herb and I want to work with it, or when I want to find a herbal remedy for a particular ailment, the first book that I normally reach for is this one. This is Herbal Remedies, Eyewitness Companions. It is a very easy to use book, and it just basically covers most of the ones you're likely to encounter in your kind of in your journey into herbalism. And again, this is probably the first reference book that I pick up. Out of all of these, I've kind of worked with all of them. This is the one I tend to go back to again and again and again. So this is an Eyewitness Companions Herbal Remedies, and I don't know, DK, I think that's Dorling, Kindersley, isn't it? Right, that's my sort of first immediate choice. Now, if I can't find what I'm looking for in there, what I tend to do is generally go for, I think it's this one. Now this is, again, a Dorling Kindersley book. So this is Dorling Kindersley, the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Plants. And again, it's beautifully laid out. You can look up everything that you want in the index, and it has got some good information on sort of pretty much everything. It's not extensive information. The information, sort of how do you make a tincture or a salve, or what the dosages are and things like that. It's not necessarily that good for that kind of information, but you do have, for example, I've got one here just sort of randomly, black cohosh. It's actually got the dosage there, and tincture, and also tablets made from. So it's got some very, very basic information, but actually a lot. So you'd have to know how to make the tablets, you'd have to know how to make the decoction, etc. So but it is extremely useful, and it covers pretty much most of the herbs that you're kind of going to touch with. So if you can't find what you're looking for in there or in there, I would tend to then start looking up these more involved books, which you've got two here. One's called the Herbal Drugstore, and the other one's called the Green Pharmacy, and these are kind of quite involved reference books. It's a case of you looking up and in the index, and you will find quite a bit of information about what you need, but again, fairly sparse as far as I can recall on actual sort of dosages and sort of how-tos and stuff. So these are more sort of for reference more than anything else. Same goes for this one, although I think this one has the Green Pharmacy. I think it does have more in the way of sort of recipes and actual dosages and things like that. So that's kind of, I'd say, this one over this one. So let me put these in order. So I would go for, there we go. So those are the 4 books I would choose out of all of them. Those are the ones I kind of refer to the most. The rest are kind of luxuries. You've probably all heard of James Wong, and he actually had a series on TV called Growing Your Own Drugs. What I have found with these is the recipes in here. I've normally never got all of the ingredients. The recipes get can be quite long. You know, there's lots of ingredients in certain recipes there, and I've generally never always got all of the ingredients, which is actually something I tend to find with most recipe books these days. Now you've got Culpepper's Complete Herbal. This is a ancient reference book. I mean just look at the font on the text here, and you can see this is a really old book. I don't know when it was first published. Now this is one that my friend in Ireland, Mark, from the Nuggets of Truth channel, recommended, and it does cover all pretty much every single plant and herb that exists, but it's in a very old language. To be honest, I don't find myself making much reference to it. So it's, again, handy to kind of have just in case you can't find what you want in these. But it's more of a luxury having this book. I don't think I've ever referred to it whilst making any of the remedies that I make at the moment. And again, the rest are just, like Pocket Guide to Herbs. Well, that can be useful in identifying herbs either in the garden or out in the wild. But the rest of these books, they're just kind of, I don't refer to them much. There's information there. This looks quite well illustrated for identification purposes, which should be good. But again, in practical terms, I find I don't use this one too much. Same as this one. I don't think I've ever really I might have flicked through this, but I don't think I've spent much time with it. Although it does look a little bit like the same layout as that of a Dorling Kindersley book. So it wouldn't surprise me if sort of a lot of the content in here is actually already in here. Now, one book I do recommend, especially if you're into preparedness, is this one, and it's called Where There Is No Doctor. And well, it sort of just does what it says on the tin. You know, I think it was originally written for workers out in Africa, and there's a lot of sort of reference to sort of diseases you just don't get here in sort of England and the Western world and that. But it's pretty much, it covers everything, and it's one of those things that is definitely worth having, as a kind of a just in case backup. The other one I got here is the Vegetable Herb Expert. This is useful if you're growing your own herbs, and it also covers vegetables and things like that as well. It's a very good reference book for those kinds of things, but not necessarily for sort of herbalism in general. But yeah, like I say, I've got these other ones, but these are the 4. If I was forced to buy 4 books, obviously this one is my absolute number 1 choice. This is the one that got me into herbalism in the first place, but then these 4 are the main herbalism books that I would recommend. Even I would say go as far as that with 3. So that's Eyewitness Companions Herbal Remedies, Dorling Kindersley, the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Plants, and then The Green Pharmacy by James A. Duke, PhD. So if you're looking to set up your own kind of herbalism apothecary or just kind of get into this in a light way, those are my recommendations. Hope that was useful to you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.